You had 8 national titles, have gone on to win 1,100 ball games. That takes effort. It takes effort from her. It takes effort from her players. They have to wake up every day with the mentality of, if this game doesn't go right, but I have to give 110%. You come in here today. I came in today. I got to give effort to come before you. And then there's L, learning from my mistakes. I may make plenty of mistakes today, but I have to learn from them and be willing with that positive attitude to go back and say, you know what, coach, I didn't get it right this time, but what can I do? And I can vision her saying, like, you know what, you didn't get it right today, Candace, but if you go out and you work hard and you do this, then the next person is going to follow you, and then so forth and so forth. And I'm like, that's to me is the type of program, that's the type of player I want to be, and that's the type of person I want to be in life. That, like, I learn from my mistakes and I'm able to have a winning attitude with it. So I thought that the elm tree is what she uses as her mastery. And the other one that I kept looking at is, like, she now is the triple competitors. To have a triple competitors. I'm in life where I don't play basketball anymore, but I wake up every day with the attitude that I must be a triple competitor. You know, like, who am I honoring? I want you guys to think for a second, like, who's one person that, like, that honors themselves in life? That's a role model that you like, you know what? I like the way they honor themselves. How about you? Who's that one person that that's, like, honoring themselves?
I'd say my mother, actually. She's someone that's just a strong woman. And she does things that other people look up to her.
Yes.
So I think it just deserves honor.
Absolutely. What about you?
Probably my mom.
Yay.
Yeah.
We all have those moms. She's like, she took my answer. Let's have from the gentleman. What about you? Who's someone that you like? Honor.
Going 3 for 3. I'm going my mom.
Yeah.
I was up there yesterday.
Well, you know what? I want everyone to give a hand clap for these women. Like, these moms are great. Like, and I would say that my mom is someone that honors herself as well. Like, coming from military background and wake up, and she always said, Joy, you have to have that winning attitude. But, like, winning attitude it's not being afraid to fail. And I think that some people are like children and everybody, they're afraid to fail because it's like, oh, will I be judged? Or will I still succeed? Or will I still be able to do something? And it's like, yes, I sometimes want to fail, because if I go in with everything winning all the time, then it doesn't work for me. But if I fail and I know that I can get back up and dust my knees off, and I got my coach and my friends that are, like, cheering me on, then I know that I can get to the next step. So I just want you to take a moment and ask yourselves, like, are you like, oh, I gotta get my little notes. I had it all wrote down, So in closing, I wanted you to think of all the infinite possibilities that you have, and these 2 principles that we spoke about, the am and being triple competitors in life, like, no matter what it is, and ask, not do you know if you can fly, but have you ever flown before? Because I want us to all fly. So those are the 2 questions. So thank you for having me. Woo!
Great. Wow, you rocked it.
Good job. Good job.
So what do you think? Did she wake you up?
She did. She's awesome. I want to bottle you up and send you to Philly.
No. You guys can't have. We need more trainers on the West Coast. We're not flying anybody out.
What I would love to do, Alan, and you can facilitate this, I'd love everybody to go around and say, first impression of Joy, if you were sitting in her workshop, what did you get out of what she just said? What did you like best? What stuck with you?
Oh, for me?
You go, Alan.
I was very emotional. I thought that you brought in, as we talked about, a very relevant topic that was important to you, which made an emotional connection. So I immediately was connected through that emotion of something incredibly topical and important that made it relevant.
I will say that you're incredibly authentic. It naturally, even though you may have had some notes,
yes,
it didn't feel rehearsed. It felt there was a natural, organic authenticity to how you reacted to us. And you noticed when we were all moms, and that was a really good point, that you didn't go around and just ask us all moms.
Yes.
Like, and you improvised for that. Thank you.
I enjoyed when you brought in the personal stories and how, the coach that impacted your life, and you kind of used her throughout all of the principles you were teaching. I thought that was really cool.
Thank you.
I thought the energy was really good. And I liked how Marty said how you used like made connections with other things you're saying, so it was like easy to follow along with what was going on.
I also agree with like the idea of like love and hate, like for yourself. Like you have to love yourself first before you can be a role model for others.
Your passion was unbelievable.
Thank you.
Everything you talked about, it made me think about, for good or bad, different people in their lives.
Thank you. Oh, that makes so much
What'd you think, Kelly?
No, I thought it was great. I think you have all the ingredients to be a fantastic trainer and make a connection to audiences. That's what it's all about. It's all about the passion that you have, the energy that you have, the stories that you can tell, because everybody in the audience is a coach and they all want to be better. And the only way to get better is to get moved. And you move me. And the only thing that you need to do from here on out is just connect it to PCA's principles. you have a good overview. I mean, you had a great introduction. That was a fantastic introduction to the workshop. I love how you had us think. We talked to a person left and right. You brought up an inspirational coach for you. And incidentally, it's been really cool because the last 2 days I've seen like 10 of these demos and everybody's mentioned Pat Summit. It's so cool because last week everybody was mentioning the Cavs and Golden State Warriors, so it's so great this week. But you know, I think you really did a nice job. You brought in the triple, we call it triple impact competitors. You kept saying, but you know the idea, you know what you're talking about. The fact that Elm Tree Mastery and honoring the game were two things that are special to you, and what you don't even realize is how much your tank was filled by all of these coaches that you have. And that, you know, even though those are the two for you, if you didn't have a full emotional tank, you wouldn't have been able to absorb any of the mastery or any of the respect for all those areas. So you've got all three principles down without even knowing it. The only thing you need to do is kind of go through the PowerPoint and just connect what you're saying, the same exact story, the same exact thing, connected to our principle. If you were facilitating it, that somebody like you just did, then click and spit through a PowerPoint any day. So I don't want to tell you to memorize the PowerPoint so that you're sitting there like, here on the slide, let me tell you this, here on this slide. You've got too much in you to do that. But from an organizational presentation point of view, the audience needs some kind of a structure. Mm-hmm. So there's many times when I get off on some, and Marty and Alan have seen me, like I get off on some cool thing and I look back at the slides and I'm like, well, I'm already 3 slides ahead, and I just click right through it, you know, and figure I don't have to do it. And I think you're the same way. You can get a really great message across without using the slides, but I think connecting it a little bit would be a fantastic trainer, and it'll also help for consistency, because we want a school that you go to, or a youth organization that you go to, mm-hmm. and do a first workshop. We want somebody else to come back again and then to say, well, this wasn't anything like what Joy did. You know, mm-hmm. we want there to be consistency. We want you to have your own style, but we want them to be able to recognize the workshop. So, reason I'd love you to be a little tighter to the PowerPoint, and I'd love to see you do it with PowerPoint, and, you know, same story, same thing. And everything you said, and I wrote down tons of notes here, can connect directly to one of the principles or one of the tools that we talk about in our workshop.
Mail those notes to me.
So you are not at all.
Can she?
Hey there.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I laugh because I sometimes I take notes, and sometimes you're losing me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Sorry, I'm in a Dunkin' Donuts.
I was saying, do you
only
mind
on the East Coast are you in
emailing
the
the
Dunkin'
notes
Donuts.
to me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I can. Most of the time, sometimes I take notes and feedback, and sometimes I just steal things from you. So most of this was stealing things from you. But just a lot of the very strong. I like talking about Candace Parker. I thought that the fact that Pat Summit's on, that's a powerful message for coaches. I liked that she talked about family. Family is really important. That's something I love to bring up in our workshops. Who honors themselves? That's a great question. Winning attitude is somebody's not afraid to fail. That's a strong statement. You know, you just had so many good, strong statements that you can thread throughout this entire workshop, and you're going to be doing great.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Wow,
Yeah.
we threw curveballs at you.
Yes.
You hit the hanging curve.
Yay.
So do you have time to hang?
Yeah, I'm gonna hang.
Absolutely. We'll give it right back to you.
All right.
All right.
So,
Do you want
The
to
PowerPoint.
step
Here, I
around?
have the PowerPoint here now, so you can use.
Not easier.
Can you take some risks?
You did.
Can I use, Alan, does your computer do well without it being
I'm
plugged
learning a
in?
little bit.
Yeah, it'll hold on for a few minutes, yeah.
Just a few minutes.
Hi, Kelly.
Because mine doesn't have great battery power like at all.
Hi, Stephen. Nice to meet
Oh,
Nice to meet
can
you.
do-
I'll do this.
There you go. Wherever you want. Just let her know which page you're
There's
on.
no mistake that I need to
Okay.
yell, and you have to hear it.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm
She's
such a
a
great
total
idea.
connect there.
It's a great idea. It's a great idea.
Okay.
So what are you planning on doing today, Stephen?
I'm doing fill-in emotional tanks.
Cool. All right.
Got it.
Yes.
Slide are you starting on?
That's the kind of using one in my presentation.
So she can put it up so you can see it.
So I'm starting on principle 1, fill in emotional tank.
Yep, that's great. Do you want me to
Are you
pull it up?
I guess we don't need to see it. It's fine.
Okay.
He sees it.
So I just go through.
As long as you can see it, you're fine. So if you just want to start with a brief intro, just so that you can connect yourself to the audience, give them a little bit of background why you're here, why you're connected to PCA. And then you can just jump right in as if you'd already done the intro, and then you can jump right into the first principle.
I'll bring my
All right, yeah, here we go. See, that's good, you're
I'm a little
right.
laid back, you know, so-
That's okay. You got your own style. It's your own style.
Game time, game time.
Gotcha. So thank you all for coming. My name is Stephen Christensen. I'm here to talk to you guys about how we can better build our athletes and still win, build winning programs through the philosophy of filling emotional tanks. So a little bit about myself. I'm originally from Portland, Oregon. I had a very different sports path in terms of I was actually cut from my high school basketball team as a senior. I was able to persevere through to become a team captain of my junior college. Fortunate enough to go on and play at a Division I Portland State, and then finish at the University of Oregon. I actually made a switch and then played professional football for a year, and then was asked to come back and coach my junior college team. So looking back over my playing career, I always say I was blessed with bad coaches. I seem to have very negative to degrading coaches all the way through college and professionally, but I always had the awareness that there has to be a better way. And I knew that if I was ever put in the position to coach or lead others, that I would do it through the philosophy of positivity. I'd really truly invest in the person and not just the athlete. So that's why I'm so passionate about the PCA mission, and why I'm so excited to be here to share with you our philosophies and to take some of your stories and experiences as coaches and players and see how we can collaborate to, continue to build sports, youth sports especially, as a great platform to build better athletes, but more importantly, build better people. Okay, so jumping right into it, I'd love to start talking about filling emotional tanks. I'd like to start with a quote here from Maya Angelou. She said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." So I think that's just so true. I know it's true to me. I'm sure it's true to everyone else in this room. You have those people in your life that make you think, man, I can do anything with these people in my corner. And then unfortunately, you also have these other people that make you think, am I even tying my shoelaces right? Okay. So what I'd like to do is go around real quick. If you guys, just off the top of your head, is there a coach or a person in your past that you thought just, wow, with this person in my corner, I can do anything? Is there anyone?
Yeah, go by me.
We're going by you already, or are you smoking high school?
I was blessed with that, with negative.
We'll have to talk about it later.
I would say my AAU coach.
Your AAU coach? Or was there something specific that?
She just was one of those people that her drive, would never give up, because the moments that I didn't even believe in myself, she believed in me. And that was an extra push of okay, I really can't do this.
Really?
Yeah.
And just after senior speech, I can see that already rubbed off on you. So. Anyone else?
For me, it was my first softball coach because I was terrible. I didn't know the difference between left and right field, but he did not make me feel like I was bad at the sport.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So those examples are perfect, and it sounds like those are people that are great at filling your emotional tank, and that's what we're going to be talking about here today. So a quick question for you guys: how many of you would you rather have a car with a full tank of gas, or a car right on empty, crossing your fingers that you're going to make it home?
Yeah,
Full tank.
You want the full tank?
I
Okay,
was
great.
on empty glass yesterday. Literally, like,
Stressful.
And why? What are some reasons why?
Stressful having an empty tank. When's gonna run out?
Yeah,
You know,
that is stressful.
Or like, yeah.
You know, it's more reliable, probably.
Right.
You know, you have confidence as the driver and its abilities. You know, it's going to take you farther, right? So those things relate very well to athletes, okay? Because when an athlete has an empty emotional tank, you know, they tend to be more pessimistic. They're tend to give up more easily, right? They're less coachable, okay? Whereas the opposite with the athlete with a full tank, right? And I'm sure we've all experienced it when when you got all that confidence, you can do no wrong, right? So you're more optimistic. You take criticism well. You can fight through that adversity, keep pushing through, right? Okay. Okay, so when touching on that, what are some of the things that you guys would say as a group would drain that emotional tank?
Just negative attitudes.
Mhm.
people always on your back.
Yeah.
Do this, do that.
Or things you can't change, like, oh, you did that, but then something you can't change, like not constructive criticism,
Yeah.
right?
So
Like,
no substance.
right,
Like
like
what I'm
nothing
saying, just-
that's supportive, right?
Why'd you shoot that shot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
versus, yeah.
I don't know. I was trying to make it. I wasn't trying to miss it.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
good, that's a good example.
But yeah, so definitely, I mean, we think that criticism without correction, sarcasm, ignoring players, nonverbals, the big one for me. I remember my college coach, I'd take a shot, I'd miss it, I'd look over to him, he'd be flailing his arms, looking around, going like this to me. You know, looking back now, it's very humorous, but in the moment, it kills your confidence. You start hesitating, you start second guessing yourself, you start thinking instead of reacting. As we all know, as an athlete, that's a deadly sin. Okay, so it really, really can put you back. So then on the flip side, what do you think can fill an athlete's emotional tank?
Positively.
Positive.
Yeah.
Positive.
Like a reinforcement or something.
Exactly, just a reinforcement. So when we talk about truthful, specific praise, you know, having, Alan, that was a great job today, you know, running through first base, trying to beat out that throw, you know, keep it up. That's great. You know, even though the end result wasn't good, that's fine. The process was great. So I was always a big believer in, I love coaches that, again, had substance to what they're saying and then appreciated the process. Okay, so another basketball example, make a great move, attack the hoop, try to finish with your correct hand. You miss the shot. You know, the coach that reinforces, doesn't focus on end result, but reinforces, hey, that move was phenomenal. 9 times out of 10, we're making that shot. Keep that up. That's going to build confidence in the player, and then that's going to translate into, more often than not, great end results. Okay, so that way of thinking. And then the last one I also like is, again, nonverbals, but on the positive side. So there's some nonverbals you can think of to fill the emotional tank.
Positive.
Oh, he's
Positive.
I like
He's
thumbs
still
up.
in
I
it.
like thumbs up.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely thumbs up.
Veer came in with big
Dab
smile.
on the
today.
kid.
That was Phil.
Oh.
To some like dance.
Yeah,
That was
This one?
Oh, I got more.
Yeah, so definitely. The big one you just said, the thumbs up.
Yeah.
I was giving an exit interview to our point guard at my junior college. And he was a hothead. He was a roller coaster throughout the year. And sometimes he'd be on, sometimes he'd be off. I asked him, you know, was there any feedback from me as a coach? You know, I could do better. He said, one of the best things you did is, you know, I'd miss a shot, I'd throw a turnover or whatever. I'd just look over to you and you just be giving a thumbs up saying, we're good. Now, I had no idea, you know, I'm just doing that unconsciously, but you don't know that makes such a big impact both ways. So
I do this too with a couple of players. Whether they make a mistake or not, I'm doing this, Kelly.
So from there we got, now we understand the emotional tank, why it's so important to have it. We have something at PCA, the magic ratio, okay? Positives compared to criticisms. So is there a guess in here how many positives we should have compared to one criticism? Give me a number.
1 to 1.
Wow, that's a great guess. Okay, great. So we found the magic ratio is 5 to 1.
What?
5 positives to 1 criticism.
Impossible.
Impossible. So the most important thing we do as coaches is really just up that positive criticism ratio. Okay. Should we watch the video? Can we skip that out?
You can skip the video. Yeah, you can just go right through it.
You guys think
All right.
are you tweeting?
I was talking through it. So an example of that is one of the greatest coaches of all time, Bill Jackson. He was coach of Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls dynasty in the 90s. He had a problem with Horace Grant, one of the role players, but they were just clashing all the time. Phil Jackson decided to adopt this. He wasn't able to get to 5 to 1. He struggled to get it to 2 to 1, but it was still an improvement. And he saw not only did their relationship improve immensely, but the players' on-court performance went through the roof, and it helped them all those titles. So, a great coach adopting that small little change made him that much better. So I think that's a pretty powerful thing. Here, now you're probably telling me, hey Steve, this is great. We know we got to have full emotional tanks, and that's phenomenal, but we are still making so many mistakes as a team. How do I get the points across so they're not making those mistakes? And how do we correct those in a positive way? So we have some receivable feedback. One, you got to avoid non-teachable moments. And when we talk about non-teachable moments, we mean, during competition, emotions run high. As coaches, it's our job to remove those emotions from the situation before we ever give any type of feedback. So it's always constructive and has a substance to it. Next point is to criticize in private. This is a big rule of thumb at PCA. We believe in, you praise in public, criticize in private. Because we all know I've been there. Sounds like you've been there a lot too. When you get criticized in public, it's embarrassing. And the worst thing that happens is a player loses respect or trust of the coach. And then you start to lose the team and unravels. Another one is ask permission. As coaches, we're always telling people to do things. Tell them. But we never ask, right? So asking them, hey, Marty, you threw that turnover. I know you're bummed about it in the third quarter, but if you want, we can go to my office, talk about different options in the future. Just let me know. So asking them, and they'll be curious, and they'll come to you more often than not. Next, kind of piggyback off that is use if-then statements. If-then statements is, again, we tell too much. Maybe suggest, hey Joy, if you bend your knees when you shoot, you'll have better range on your shots. It's a lot better than just saying, hey Joy, bend your knees. Joy's looking around, what do you mean bend my knees? I'm just trying to play the game here. And finally, criticism sandwich. Basically just taking a criticism sandwich in between 2 positives. So again, Marty, I know you coach a lot of softball. Is there something off the top of your head in terms of a criticism sandwich that you could think of that you'd use with one of your players?
Maybe something like, wow, you were cheering very loud in the dugout. I love your energy. Make sure you never slow down when you're running through first base, but way to hit the ball on the ground.
There you go. That's perfect. It works. Good job, though. You bet.
I'm struggling. Get that out.
Yeah.
So that's great. And so finally, the last thing, we understand now why it's so important to have full emotional tanks. We gave you some of the tools. Now I want to give you just a few things you can do as an organization, maybe to implement to start getting going with this. Number one is we call it the buddy system. It's where before practice or drill, just buddy your players up, because whether we like it or not as coaches, throughout the year, our words are not going to carry weight at some points. But their teammates, your teammates, their words will always carry a lot of weight. So being able to partner them up and give them 2 rules, do this drill as hard as you can, as best of your abilities. Rule number 2, fill your partner's emotional tank. So, an example is if Al and I are partners and we're shooting free throws, and I'm a big guy, so I always struggle at the line, and I'm tired. It's the end of practice. I got to make these free throws, get out of here. What do you think some of the things Alan could say to me to just keep my emotional tank full?
Different venue.
Yeah.
There you go. Walk.
Then you might actually make one of those. Just no, you can say, look, hey, I know you're tired. Let's get through this together. Let's get through these last, think about it being the last minute or the last, our final game of the season. You just got this one little bit to give.
Exactly. Those things they seem so small on the outside, but they really are powerful when you're in the moment. I know I've been there a lot of times. Next is positive charting. And this is during a game or before a game, letting your players know, chart your players and let them know, hey, I'm looking for this positive thing. It's not a stat line or anything. It could be boxing someone out in every shot. I know at Lane, at the junior college, I told my big guys, we don't expect you to get every single rebound, but we expect you to be in a position to get every single rebound.
Right.
So it's to box someone out. So before the game, I'm watching. I want to see you body on someone every time. End of the season, we have our one big. He's leading the conference in rebounds. The other one's in the top 5. Is it because of the biggest, most athletic? No. Is it probably because they did a small thing consistently over time and it became a big thing? I like to think so. And that's their hard work. Finally, is the winner circle. As coaches, our job is to motivate our players, get them ready at all times, okay, especially after tough losses. So it's very important to always end on a positive and use your team to rally around each other, to go around the room and, just let each person know what's one thing that your teammate did to put our team in a position to win today, okay? So I like to consider us as one big team right now. If we like to go around the room real quick, and any sport you like, if you just say an example of what you'd say after a tough loss to one of your teammates. I know.
Good, Coach Wayne. What do you say to your rowers who sucked it up that day?
Well, you want to start up?
Yeah. I guess after a big loss, I would kind of get everyone's feedback and then say, look, although this might have been our result, let's keep in mind what we did prior to this, our practicing and our training and stuff. So I'd say kind of reflect on those positive moments and what you've gained throughout that training. And even though it wasn't the result we had hoped, we still gained all that positive in the process of this.
Sure. That's perfect.
Look at that.
Time for one more.
One more, you're it.
Well, I mean, golf really isn't a team sport.
Right.
But,
You talking
I guess-
caddy?
Well, I mean, we don't really have caddies
Oh,
yeah. But I mean, I'm with the team right now, and I mean, even though we're all playing our own individual games, at the end, we are still a team. We are striving for the same goals. So I think we all try to focus on just working hard, and because I believe, well, my team believes, and so do I, that hard work does eventually pay off, even though you don't see the results right away. So the only thing you can't control is your attitude, your work ethic. So I guess.
That's perfect.
All right.
That's perfect. And I'll say the last one. Joy, great job of bringing the energy, getting me pumped up for my speech. Coming out both winners. So anyways, guys, thank you very much. It's been great to share these philosophies with you and hear your stories and experiences. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
All right, good job. Now I know what we're missing on those hour workshops. That's good stuff. Doesn't get it.
All right. Well done. Well done. I felt like I was in the room with you. That was great. Again, I'd love to hear from the people in the room because you guys were there live. You're feeling the energy. Why don't you just go around the horn? What stuck with you? What did you like that Stephen did?
I'll start again. I kind of like that you sort of disarmed us right off the bat. With it. I was blessed with bad coaches. I thought that was really disarming. And I think that anything that sort of, you had to close your eyes. Anything that's disarming that grabs the attention of the room, other than what they're about to see, I think brings your personality out. It gets them all paying attention. And as simple as that, empathy. You created empathy in the room, I think, for your situation. You've learned from that empathy. Now you want to bring it back.
I would say the same thing of how you did disarm, but also gave not the typical story of success, but like how you were cut from your team. Because that the first thing is like, oh, Michael didn't make it, and this is what he's gonna do, and look at what you've gonna do. And then you gave so many like positive stories, but tools. Like I walk away now, like feeling like I have a toolkit that I can go and do this.
I was gonna mention that you made me believe in the level of confidence that I was confident in what you were telling me based on your personal experiences. It was really clear that you've had several. I wanted a little bit more detail into some personal stories because I was more like, well, how did you really get to that? Like you're kind of like, what? I wanted to hear, I really believed your level of confidence and how you got to where you're at. And I think you shouldn't be shy about giving, because there's an emotional context there too. Yeah. When you said the quote about Maya Angelou's quote, you were connected to that quote. There's no question about that. So then the personal stories, I feel like I want to hear more through that process of what you, especially multi-sport experience and stuff, a little bit more there. Okay. That would be my only request.
Yeah. I think you did a great job at teaching the content. Obviously, you know this stuff really well. And not only did you teach us the principles, you also told us how to use them. Just like Joy was saying, we have a toolkit, not just knowing what an emotional tank is, but how to fill each other's emotional tank, and then tying that to your personal stories just knocks it out the park. So keep that up. And like Bear said, lean on those personal stories. We love them.
I liked all the tools that you use, like the buddy system, all that. I think that's super valuable information because you're not just saying it, but you're providing us with examples so you can kind of picture and think oh, well, if I was a coach, who would I have partnered up for? How would I run this? So
I liked how each time you presented an idea or a concept, you always supported it with really clear examples and explanations. I was able to relate to everything you said, even though I don't play basketball, but I could relate it to my own personal experiences. So I thought that was really awesome.
Thank you.
That's everyone.
Is that everybody? I can't see who's in there. Stephen, I think I think you did a fantastic job. This is the first time I've gotten to see you, and just I'm really glad you got to do this live because I think it's so much better than being able to see you on a computer screen. Just to see how you relate to the group, and they're not the easiest group in the room, by the way. I just think, you were very comfortable, and you've got a great smile, you've got a great sense of humor, and you're just humble. Just the way you even said, I was cut as a senior, and I was like, okay, then what? And then you're like, yeah, and then I went on D1, and then I went on to play D1 again, and then for a year. And you just said it get a cup of coffee, go sit down, play D1 and professional football after I was cut. It's just it was really, it kind of took me, and I agree with whoever said they want to hear more about that because that's pretty awesome. But I really like the way you made, somebody else said authentic. I think I really like the way that you made all these principles applicable today. So what we talk about in our workshops a lot is a lot of information, and a lot of it's theory and a lot of it's philosophy, but you took all the theory and philosophy and you put it into real life terms that I as a coach could go out and use tomorrow. And that's the key. That's really the key. So I think, you know, especially just saying, just you phrase things like with Maya Angelou quote, and you said, you know, gosh, you could just go out and do anything. Like, what a great question. Instead of saying, who was a coach that made you feel like you had a full tank? You know, like you just really, I like the way you worded that a lot. When you got to the, you know, filling tanks and draining tanks, you went through that pretty quickly, which I thought was great. My favorite part of it is when you actually were animated and showed the nonverbal of your coach. I'd love to see a little bit more of that in there, because I know you have it in your personality. Anything you can animate to make people remember visually, like, you know, I would remember that when I'm on the sidelines of the next game, not to do this all you do. So, you know, anything you can bring up, especially with filling and draining tanks, there's a lot of fun things you can do there to have the group, you know, pretend to fill a tank non-verbally, pretend to drain a tank non-verbally, pretend to do it verbally. You know, there's a lot of things you can do with getting the audience talking or up or moving with that section that I'd love to see you try to pull out a little bit more rather than you just kind of explaining it. But I think, you know, you did a great job. I have one quick question for you. Why do we call it the magic ratio rather than just a really good ratio?
No,
Do you know?
no, I do, but no, I'm blanking.
It's not a quiz question. You actually said it. So you talked about the magic ratio, the positives to criticisms. And then you said, you were talking about Horace Grant and Phil Jackson. And you were talking about how Phil Jackson, when he got close to, he was at 2-1, and then he was at 3-1. And as he saw himself getting closer to 5-1, what did you say happened to Horace Grant?
He became a better player.
Yeah, his performance increased. So that's actually the reason for the term magic, is because, yeah, it's great when coaches can give 2-1. It's really good when coaches can give 3-1. It's even better 4-1. But what all the research has pointed to is when you get closest to 5-1, that's when you see a dramatic increase in performance. So that kind of links it back from the feel good, making your players feel great, giving them more positives than criticisms, to bottom line is in studying students and marriages and athletes. As soon as you get to that 5-1, man, performance just went through the roof. And Phil Jackson confirmed that with Horace Grant, even at the highest level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just thought you said it later, and I was like, oh, there's the magic, but he forgot to mention it in the beginning. So, yeah. The other thing too, I love the way you asked for an example, like to Marty, of a criticism sandwich. And I like the way she kind of struggled for a second, like, let me think about this. So instead of asking one person to share it in front of your audience, that would be a perfect time to do a pair and share. Everybody turn to somebody next to you in your sport and give them an example of a criticism sandwich that you would use in your sport. So that way you get every single person in the room talking at the same time. And then, okay, who can just maybe give me 1 or 2 examples in your sport of how you would do it? So that way it doesn't put people on the spot as much, and it gets every single person in the room. So I would look for opportunities to do that more in your workshops, just to get people, you know, turn with 2 or 3 people or talk with a person over here. Because as soon as you call on Marty, everybody else in the room is like, phew, thank God you didn't call on me. You know?
I'm good.
Yeah. They kind of check out. So we don't want people to check out. We want them to check in. So if you make sure everybody has to do it, and you did it, you know, again, your questions were fantastic. You know, what would you, I think for the buddy system, you were talking about, like, what would you say to a teammate to keep their tank filled? That's a great question. That's a great pair and share question too. And then even again, what would you say after a tough loss to a teammate? This is stuff you're actually having them practice these tools right in the workshop, and there's nothing better. I mean, there's nothing you could do better than that. I think it was fantastic. So keep doing what you're doing. I think you have an awesome future as a trainer. I think you're doing a great job. Just look for opportunities to get the audience more engaged and more talking together with each other and throwing some stuff out. But I'm really excited about having you on board in LA.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Kel, anything else from your end?
So from my end, what I would do right away is, so I just wanted Joy to make sure she understood the difference in what she did and what Steven did.
Yes.
Is she okay? She's still there? Okay.
Yeah.
So
He used the PowerPoint.
he what?
He used the tools in the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And yes.
So I would love to see you do that, sample it for me, and it can just be a regular Google Hangout. You don't have to come into the office again, but I'd love to see you do that.
Okay.
And like what Steven did is perfect. That is considered like passing grade for the course. And the course is so that we know you're ready to go out and do this live in front of an audience, so that when Marty sets up a partnership, she doesn't go, oh my gosh, who are we sending out there? So I like to do this to give like my stamp of approval. I think, you know, Steven is ready to go at a workshop. And what we usually do is send the trainers out to do 1 or 2 principals at a live workshop with a certified trainer. So we would connect you with a certified trainer, connect you with a workshop that works for your schedule. And then Stephen, you can talk to that trainer and decide which principal would be best to do. Some trainers like to do the introduction themselves and then have the associate trainer, which Stephen would be considered now, jump in and do like the first principal. Others say, why don't you wait and do the last principal? But that's all details we can work out. And then from there, I get feedback from the certified trainer, and they either say, you know what, I think next time out he could do all 3 principals, or I think next time out he could do a full workshop, or maybe next time out we should have him just do 2 principals again. So that's kind of the step that we go from there. We're trying to get as soon as possible to get you out to live workshops by yourself. And you've got great support there, and Alan and Marty, and I'm sure they can help you out too locally anyway, but I'm here too to help you out. So I'm gonna follow you through until you do get completely certified. So any questions, anything you want to roll by me in your first workshop, and you know you're like a nervous wreck and you want to run it by me first to practice it, I'm always happy to do that too.
Okay, right.
All right. Well, everybody
So
say.
do you guys have questions for me?
Say hi to everybody.
Good to see you, Kelly, again.
Do you have any questions?
Thanks, guys. Sorry, I'm so huge on your screen there. Sheesh.
Yeah, we're-
I'll eat that.
Okay. Yeah, so Joy will follow up. Say hi to our cool little people, our friendly office out there.
This is a really cool office you guys have there. I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
We're pretty lucky. It's our fancy conference room. We have a small office within a shared workspace, so we get to use
Okay.
rooms and all this stuff. You know, basically as part of
It's not as cool as
part of
It's
our
very
culture.
LA.
Yeah, it's not as cool as Dunkin' Donuts. That's what I want to go to right now.
No. Well, that was my mess up because I forgot that 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Pacific time was actually 7 p.m. And I was like, oh man, I'm not even going to be home. So on it. So
well,
anyway, thank you guys
thanks
so much
for
for
the
taking the
time.
time to set this up. Julie and
Yeah.
Stephen, thanks for coming in. I know it's not easy to arrange your schedule, so I appreciate that.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
That was a